Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Hare
Krishna.
Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna. Dandar Pranam, Prabhuji.
As far as your video is clear, audio is also clear.
Yeah. That just we want to know that.
Yes. Hare Krishna devotees. Today we welcome all of you for the today's morning program Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya. And today we are very fortunate to have His Grace Murali Murari Prabhuji. And he will enlighten us on Srimad Bhagavatam, 4th canto, 23rd chapter, verse 32. Over to you, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna. Thank you all the devotees for participating in the Srimad Bhagavatam morning narrations. Thank you so much for giving me an opportunity. I consider this an opportunity for purifying my own self instead of giving this preaching to others. I feel that's my own purification I require as it is. So today we will go with the Prthu Maharaj. This is the Canto 4, chapter 23 and verse number 32. Before we really going into that, Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Narayanam Namaskrityam Naranjaiva Narottamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jaya Mutiraye Nashtaprayeshu Abhadreshu Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya Bhagavati Uttamasloke Bhaktir Bhavati Naishtiki. So, in this part of Srimad Bhagavatam about Prthu Maharaj, we are going to touch the verse 4, 23 and 32. Before we are really going into it, it is better to can brush up what is happened in the so far about it. And we all might have come across Archie, the wife, great chaste wife of Prthu Maharaj, given her life along with her husband in the funeral pyre. And after observing this brave act performed by the chaste wife of Archie, the wife of great King Prthu, wives of demigods along with their husband offered prayer to Queen. At that time, the demigods were situated in the top of Mandira hills, and all the wives began to show flower on the funeral pyre and began to talk amongst themselves. The wives of demigods said, "All glories to Queen Archie, has served her husband with mind, speech, and body, exactly as goddess of fortune serves the Supreme Personality of Godhead." So they were also telling that grey house chaste lady Archie is, by dint of her inconceivable pious activities, is still following her husband upwards. Wherever her husband goes, to the upper planets, she is also following. Queen Archie thus reached the planet which her husband Maharaja Prthu, the topmost realized souls, has attained. So the same planet she is also reaching. On that occasion only, Maitreya Muni tried to say, the greatest of devotees, Maharaja Prthu, was very powerful and his character was liberal, magnificent and magnanimous. That's what Maitreya Muni says. Along with it, any person who describes the great characteristics of King Prthu with the faith and determination, whether he reads or hears of them himself or helps others to hear them, he is certain to attain a very planet of which Maharaja Prthu attained. So what a wonderful statement he is giving, Maitreya Muni. So with that, the today's verse we are coming to 4:23:32. Brahmano Brahma Varchasvi Rajanyo Jagatpatihi Vaishyan Patan Vitpadityak Shudra Satmatam Yat. Brahmano Brahma Varchasvi Rajanyo Jagatpatihi Vishayapatan Vitpaticha Vaishyan Patan Vitpaticha Sudra Satmatamiyat. Brahmana, the Brahmanas, Brahma Vachasi, one who has attained the power of spiritual success, Rajanya, the royal order, Jagatpati, Jagatipati, the king of the world, Vaishya, the mercantile class of man, Patan by reading, Vitpati, become master of animals, Sait, become Sudra, the labor class of man, Sattamatam, the position of a great devotee, attains. So, translation and purport by Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada. If one hears of the characteristics of Prthu Maharaj and is a Brahmana, he becomes perfectly qualified with the Brahmanical powers. If he is a Kshatriya, he becomes a king of the world. If he is a Vaishya, he becomes the master of other Vaishyas and many animals. And if he is a Sudra, he becomes the topmost devotee. The purport Prabhupada says, in Srimad Bhagavatam, it is recommended that one should become a devotee regardless of one's condition. Whether one is without desire, akama, or with desire, sakama, or whether one desire for liberation, moksha kama, he is advised to worship the Supreme Lord and execute devotional service unto him. By so doing, one attains all perfection in any field of life. The process of devotional service, especially hearing and chanting, is so powerful that it can bring a person to the perfectional stage. In this verse, Brahmana, Kshatriya, Vaishya, and Sudras are mentioned, but here it should be understood that reference is to Brahmana who is born in a Brahmanical family, the Kshatriya who is born in a Kshatriya family, or a Vaishya who is born in the Vaishya family, and Shudra who is born in the Sudra family. But whether one is a Brahmana, Kshatriya, Vaishya, or Sudra, he can attain perfection simply by hearing and chanting. To take birth in a family of a Brahmana is not the ultimate finishing touch. One must have the power of a Brahmana, which is called Brahma Tejas. Similarly, taking birth in a royal family is not all in all. One must possess the power to rule the world. Similarly, taking birth as a Vaishya is not all. One must possess hundreds and thousands of animals, specifically cows. The rule over other Vaishyas as Nanda Maharaja did in Vrindavana. Nanda Maharaja was a Vaishya who possessed 900,000 cows and ruled over many cowherd men and boys. A person who is born in Sudra family can become a greater than a Brahmana simply by accepting devotion service and giving oral reception to pastimes of the Lord and his devotees. Om Tatsat. A prayer to my gurus. Om Jnana Timirandasya Jnananjana Salakaya Takshun Miridam Yena Tasmai Sri Gurave Namaha Sri Chaitanya Manobishtam Sabizam Jena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamakyam Dadat Pisvapadantigam Vandeham Sri Gurum Sri Yudapatagamalam Sri Gurum Vaishnavam Cha Shri Rupam Sakarajadam Sagana Raghunadhanvitam Tam Sajivam Satvaidam Savadutam Parijana Sagitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Sri Radha Krishna Padan Sagana Lalita Sri Vishaka Vitam Cha हे कृष्णा करुणा सिंधो दीनबंधो जगत्पते गोपेश गोपिका कांत राधा कांत नमस्तुते तप्त कांचन गौरांगी राधे वृंदावनेश्वरी वृषभानुच्युते देवी प्रणमामि हरिप्रिये पंचकल्पतरुभस्य कृपा सिन्धुभ्येव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः नमो ओं विष्णुपादाय कृष्णप्रेष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदान्त स्वामीनिति नामिने नमस्ते सरस्वती देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेष शून्यवादी पाश्चात्य सदारिणे मोहवदन्याय कृष्ण प्रेम बदायते कृष्णाय कृष्ण चैतन्य नामने गौरत्तुजे नमः नमः ब्रह्मण्य देवाय गो ब्राह्मण इदाय च दैत्याय कृष्णाय गोविंदाय नमो नमः जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधरा श्रीवासादि गौरभक्त वृंदा हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे Om Tatsat. Once again, today is a very, very auspicious day. Sri Advaita Acharya's appearance day. And thank you once again for giving me an opportunity to purify myself by reading Srila Prabhupada's purport, which is ultimate for all of us. So, in this particular purport, Srila Prabhupada is narrating, it is recommended that one become a devotee regardless of one's condition, whether one is without desire, akama, or with desire, sakama, or with desire for liberation, moksha kama. In all these cases, one should become a devotee. What it is stated here, a person who has a broader intelligence, whether he is full of material desire, without any material desire, or desiring for liberation, must all by means worship the Supreme Lord, the personality of Godhead. In Srimad Bhagavatam, it is this verse is coming. Akama sarva kamova moksha kama udarati tivirena bhakti yogena yajata purusham param. Akama is one who has transcendental all material desires. Sarva kama is one who has the sum total of material desires. And moksha kama is one desires for liberation. And udirati is without broader intelligence, with a broader intelligence. And bhakti yogena, the devotional service. The Supreme Personality Godhead, in Bhagavad Gita, it is described as Purushottama in so many places. Our Supreme Personality of Godhead, Uttama out of Purushas. He only who can award liberation for even for the impersonalist. See, impersonalists want to join to the Brahma Jyoti. The Brahma Jyoti is not different from the Lord. As the glowing sun ray is not independent of the sun disk, same way, the Brahma Jyoti is a part of the Supreme Lord. Therefore, one who desired to merge into the Supreme impersonal Brahman must also worship the Lord by Bhakti Yoga. That we should understand. This is recommended in Srimad Bhagavatam. Bhakti Yoga, especially stressed here as a means for all the perfection. Bhakti Yoga is the ultimate goal for both Karma Yoga and Jnana Yoga. And the same way, it is the ultimate goal for the different varieties of worship of different demigods. Bhakti Yoga, thus being the supreme means for self-realization, everyone must therefore seriously take up the method of Bhakti Yoga. That's what Srila Prabhupada also insisting. Even though one aspires for material enjoyment or liberation or liberation from the material bondage, on all the cases, we'll have to follow the Bhakti Yoga. Here it is stated the Akama is one has no material desire. A living being, naturally being a part and parcel of Supreme Whole, Purusham Purnam, has his natural function to serve the Supreme Being. Just as the part and parcel of the body or the limbs of the body are naturally meant to serve the complete body. Desireless means, therefore, not to be inert like a stone, but to be conscious of one's actual position and thus desire satisfaction only from the Supreme Lord. That is called the Srila Jiva Goswami has explained this desirelessness as a Bhajaniya Parama Purusha Sukhamatra Su Shuktavam. In his Sandarbhas, he was indicating this means that one should feel happy only by experiencing the happiness of the Supreme Lord. This intuition of the living being is sometimes manifest even during the conditioned stage of a human being. Also, it's like the people will take it as altruism, philanthropy, socialism, or communism, and so many isms they will take it. It is taken by the very less intelligent persons. But a pure living entity feels happiness by happiness of the Supreme Lord only. Such a super feeling was exhibited by the themselves of Prajabhumi that we know, all the gopis, for the happiness of the Lord. Gopis, even though they suffered a lot, but their love for Lord was very great. The gopis loved the Lord without any return. And this is a perfect exhibition of a Kama spirit. That's what you should understand. In Gopika Gitam, we know that Chalasiyat Vrajan Sarayan Pasun, Nalina Sundaram, Natate Padam, Silatanungure, Sita Ditina, Kalilatamana, Kanta Gachati. So, dear master, when you leave the cowherd village to herd the cows, our minds are disturbed with the thought that your feet, more beautiful than lotus, will be pricked by the spiked husk of grain and the rough grass and the plants. What a sincere and so loving feeling by the gopis. The gopis are feeling when Lord is wandering in the forest to grazing the cows, that time there will be so many forest grass will be there, dry grasses, which will be like a pin. It should not prick the lotus feet of the Lord, that the way they feel, that is a Kama spirit. But in Kama spirit, one desire for his own satisfaction. It is fully exhibited in this material world. Almost all the people in this material world will have to undergo that Kama spirit. But the Kama spirit is exhibited by in the material world, in the spiritual world. A pure devotee does not want liberation so that he may be relieved from the miseries of life. Even without so-called liberation, a pure devotee is aspirant for the satisfaction of the Lord. That's what his main aim should be. Even in Bhagavad Gita, we had seen, influenced by the Kama spirit, Arjuna declined to fight in the Kurukshetra battle because he wanted to save his relatives for his own satisfaction. But being a pure devotee, he agreed to fight on the instruction of the Lord because he come to his senses and realized that satisfaction of the Lord at the cost of his own satisfaction was his prime duty. Thus he became a Akama. From Kama to Akama he will become. That is the perfect stage of a perfect living being. So Arjuna gives us an example how to live. Udarati, in that it stated, one who has a broader outlook. People with a desire of material enjoyment worship small demigods. And such intelligence is condemned in Bhagavad Gita also as a Hridajnana, the intelligence of one who has lost his senses. One cannot obtain any result from demigods without getting sanction from the Supreme Lord. Therefore, a person with a broader outlook can see the ultimate authority Lord. Even for material benefit also, we'll have to go to there. Under these circumstances, one with a broader outlook, even with a desire for material enjoyment or a liberation, should take the worship of the Supreme Lord directly. And everyone, whether an Akama or a Sakama or a Mokshakama, should worship the Lord. That is what it stated. This implies that Bhakti Yoga may be perfectly administered without any mixture of karma and jnana that we know. As a unmixed sun ray got forceful, very, very powerful, and therefore called Tivira. It's a very, very Tivira Bhakti Yogena. Like, similarly, unmixed Bhakti Yoga of hearing, chanting, etc. may be performed, but one and all, regardless of the inner motive. This is the Tivira Bhakti. Further, in this particular verse, it stated whether one is a Brahmana, a Kshatriya, Vaishya, or a Sudra, he can attain perfection simply by hearing and chanting. What are their original qualities specified by the Lord in Bhagavad Gita about the Brahmana, Kshatriya, or Vaishya? I just gone through that. I try to explain. So that we can understand clearly how one should not act on the basis of others. It is stated, Brahmanas, Kshatriyas, Vaishyas, and Sudras are distinguished by the qualities born of their own nature in accordance with the material modes. Brahmana, Kshatriya, Visham, Sudram cha Parantapaha, Karmani, Pravibhyakanti, Swabhava, Prabhavir Gunai. It is stated in 18th chapter. In that only it is stated how a Brahmana will be, he will be Sama, peacefulness, Dhamma, self-control, Tapa, austerity, Saucham, purity, Shanti, tolerance, Arjavam, honesty, Jnanam, knowledge, Vijnanam, wisdom. Like that, he got so many. Samo, Damas, Tapa, Saucham, Shanti, Arjavam, Mevacha, Jnanam, Vijnanam, Masikyam, Brahma Karma, Svabhavajam. Peacefulness, self-control, austerity, purity, tolerance, honesty, knowledge, wisdom and religiousness. These are the natural qualities by which a Brahmana works. Now we should understand how we are, whether Brahmanas or not. By this qualification, if you are having all these qualifications, we can consider ourselves Brahmanas. Then only we will have to talk about Vaishnavas. That is much more higher than this. There are so many 26 qualities for a Vaishnava. Okay. So further on the qualification of a Kshatriya, they will be having Shauryam, heroism, Teja, power, Dhriti, determination, Dakshyam, resourcefulness, Yuddhe. In the battlefield, they will never flee out. Apalyanam. See, Sauryam, Tejo, Dhriti, Dakshyam, Yudachapi, Apalyanam, Dhanam, Ishvara, Bhavascha, Shatram, Karma, Subhavajam. Heroism, power, determination, resourcefulness, courage in battle, generosity and leadership are the natural qualities work for the Kshatriyas. From all these qualities, if anyone is having, then they can consider themselves as Kshatriya. In the same way, for the Vaishyas, Krishi Go Rakshya Vajinam, Vaishya Karma Svabhajam, Parichyatmakam Karma, Sudrapi Svabhajam. Farming, cow production, and business are the natural work for the Vaishyas. And for the Sudras, there are labor and service to others. Whoever it may be, a Brahmana, a Kshatriya, or a Vaishya, what Lord said, by worshipping the Lord, who is the source of all being and who is all pervading, a man can attain perfection through performing his own work. Swakarmatam Abhyacharya. So, by doing their own work, occupational duty, they can get the perfection through performing their own work. So here, the purport, one of the purport, Prabhupada was indicating all the living beings are fragmental part and parcel of Supreme Lord. Thus, Supreme Lord is the beginning of all living entities. This is confirmed in Vedanta Sutra also, Janmadhyashyata. The Supreme Lord is therefore beginning of the life of every living entity. Supreme Lord, by his own energy, he got two energies, his external energy and internal energy. He is all pervading. Therefore, one should worship Supreme Lord with his energies. Generally, Vaishnava devotees worship the Supreme Lord with his internal energy. His external energy is perverted reflection of the internal energy. There's a background. But the Supreme Lord, by expansion of his plenary portion as a Paramatma, situated everywhere. He is the super soul of all the demigods, all human beings, all animals, everywhere. One should therefore know, as a part and parcel of Supreme Lord, one has his duty to render service unto the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Everyone should be engaged in the devotion service of Lord in full Krishna consciousness. That's what Srila Prabhupada says. Everyone should think that he engaged in a particular type of occupation by Rishikesha, the master of senses. And by the result of such work in which one is engaged, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Krishna, should be worshipped. In Narada Pantaratraka, it is indicated, the same verse was coming in Chaitanya Charitamrita also. Sarvopadi Vinir Muktam. Recently, we, in our Bhakti Shastri course, we read all that. Sarvopadi Vinir Muktam, Tat Paratvena Nirmalam, Rishikena Rishikesha Sevanam Bhakti Ruchate. Sarva Upadi Vinir Muktam. Free from all kind of material designation, free from all desire except the desire to render service to the Supreme Personality of God. Tat Paratvena, by the purpose of serving the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Nirmalam is uncontaminated by the effect of speculative, philosophical, or research by the fruitive activity. So we can satisfy the sense of the one who is controlling the senses. Bhakti or the devotion service means engaging all our senses in the service of the Lord, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, the master of all senses. When the spirit soul renders service unto Supreme, there are two side effects. One is freed from all material designation, and one's senses are purified simply by being employed in the service of the Lord. If one thinks always in this way, in full Krishna consciousness, then by grace of the Lord, he becomes fully aware of everything. That is the perfection of the life. Lord also says in Bhagavad Gita, Tesamaham Samudrata. The Supreme Lord himself takes charge of delivering such a devotee. That is the highest perfection of life. In whatever occupation one may be engaged, if he serves the Supreme Lord, he will be achieved the highest perfection. Further, it is also, we discussed about the Brahmana, Kshatriya and Shudras, their occupational duties. Further, it is better to engage in one's own occupation, even though one may be imperfectly does it, than accept another occupation to perform it perfectly. Duties prescribed according to one's nature are never affected by any sinful reactions. Their duty that people does it means they will not get into any sinful reaction. In Bhagavad Gita, the occupation duties of Brahmana, Kshatriya, as we discussed, it was mentioned what is their qualities. It was clear. One should not imitate another's duty. A man who is by nature attracted to kind of work done by a Shudra should not artificially claim to be a Brahmana, although he may have been born into a Brahmana family. In this way, one should work according to his own nature. No work is abominable. It is performed in the service of the Supreme Lord. It is all perfect. The occupational duty of a Brahmana is certainly in the mode of goodness. But if a person is not by nature is in mode of goodness, he should not imitate the occupational duty of a Brahmana, even if he born in the family of a Brahmana. For Kshatriya administrator, there are so many abominable things. Kshatriya has to be violent to kill the enemies, or sometimes Kshatriya will have to tell lies for the sake of diplomacy. Such violence and duplicity accompany political affairs. But Kshatriya is not supposed to give up the occupational duty and try to perform the duties of a Brahmana. One should act to satisfy the Supreme Lord. For example, Arjuna was a Kshatriya, all we know. He was hesitating to fight for the other party with the Kauravas. But if such fighting is performed for sake of Krishna, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, there need to be no fear or degradation. That's what we seen in Bhagavad Gita. In the business field also, sometimes we have seen there are fear of degradation. If sometimes merchant has to tell so many lies for making the profit. Somebody, if you go to the shop, why sir, you are so much vegetable, you are giving so much of costly. Yesterday, a potato was 50 rupees. Today, you are telling 100 rupees. How it is? No. Sir, I am not making any profit, he will say. Anybody will sell like that? Impossible. They will say some lie, which is a basic lies it will have to say. That is the way they can safeguard their business. Otherwise, they cannot do any business. Is it not? You should give up this. Otherwise, you will have to give up his profession. But that is not recommended. Whether one is a Kshatriya, a Vaishya or a Sudra, doesn't matter. If he is served by his work to the Supreme Personality of Godhead, even the Brahmanas, a different type of sacrifice they will have to do. Sometimes they will have to kill the animals, right? What we heard in the earlier days, not now. But even somewhere it's going, somebody is doing sacrifice. Because sometimes animals are sacrificed in the ceremonies. Similarly, Kshatriya also engage in occupation, kill the enemies, killing is there. There is no sin occurred because they are doing that occupational duty. Everyone should work for the purpose of if a soldier goes and kill the opponent, there is no illegality in that. In the same way, every man should work for the purpose of yajna. Only thing what we will have to remember is we will have to work for the sake of Vishnu, yajna, the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Anything done for the personal sense gratification is a cause for the bondage. So, work to be done as a sacrifice. That's what you are stating even in Bhagavad Gita. The conclusion is everyone should be engaged according to the particular mode of nature he has acquired, and he should decide to work only to serve the supreme cause, the Supreme Personality of Godhead. What we see in today's verse, Brahmano Brahma Varchasvi, Rajanyo Jagatpatihi, Vaishya Patan Vitpadichat, Shudra Sattamayat. If one hears the characteristics of Prthu Maharaj and is a Brahmana, he becomes perfectly qualified with Brahmanical power. If he is a Kshatriya, he becomes a king of the world. And if he is a Vaishya, he will be the greatest of Vaishya and he will be holding so much of cows. If he is a Shudra, he will be the topmost devotee. That's what is stated in today's verse. Similarly, one more verse we can see from Srimad Bhagavatam. This is the condition of one who talk about Prthu Maharaj, remembers Prthu Maharaj, following the path of Prthu Maharaj. All these things will happen. What about the Supreme Lord? Shunvadam Sugata Krishna, Punya Shavana Kirtanal, Hridayantastu Abhadrani, Vidunoti Sugasatam. Sri Krishna, the personality of Godhead, who is Paramatma in everyone's heart, and the benefactor of the truthful devotee, cleanses the desire for material enjoyment from the heart of devotee who has developed the urge to hear this message, which are themselves virtuous than properly heard and chanted. See, when you hear about the message of Prthu Maharaj, you will be getting so many great benefits. When you are talking about Supreme Lord, when you are hearing the topics about Supreme Lord, Shunvadam Sukata Krishna, Punya Sravana Kirtana, then you will get all that material thing will be completely vanish. See, message of personality of Godhead Sri Krishna, it is not different from him. Whenever Janma Karma Chame Divam Yeveti Takta Devam Punarjanma Archuna, like that it was stated, whenever there is a offenseless hearing and glorification of the Lord are undertaken, it is to be understood that Lord Krishna is present there in the form of transcendental sound, which is a powerful as Lord. Personally, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu in his Sixashtaka declares clearly that the holy name of the Lord has all the potencies of the Lord and that he has endowed his innumerable names with the same potency. There is no fixed features of time, no time for it. And anyone can chant the holy name, anywhere he can chant, and with attention and reverence to his, at his convenience. So, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, Namna Mahari Bahuda Nija Sarvasakti, Tatra Pita Nimita Smarane Nakala, Edashit Tavakrupa Bhavan Mamabi, Durdaivam Vedasham Mihanina Nuraha. The holy name, Namna Makari, manifested Bahuda, various kinds, Nija Sarvasakti, all kind of personal potencies were invested in that. Tatra, in that, Arpita, bestowed. Niyamita Smaranena Kala. There is no consideration of time restricted or for remembering all these. So that will give the thing. Oh my Lord, what Mahaprabhu says, oh my Lord, your holy name alone can render the all benediction to living beings. And thus you have hundreds and millions of names like Krishna, Govinda, so many names, Keshava, Narayana, Madhava, Govinda, Vishnu, Madhusudana, so many names. Sahasranamam, Vishnu Sahasranamam. In this transcendental name, you have invested all your transcendental energies. There are not even a hard and fast rules for chanting these names. Oh my Lord, out of kindness, you enable us to easily approach you by your holy names. But I am so unfortunate that I have no attraction for them. Who says? Mahaprabhu says. What is our situation? Mahaprabhu himself says he had no qualification to chant the holy name of the Lord. Namna Mahari Bahuda Nija Sarvasakti Tatra Pita Nimita Smarane Kala Edashit Tavakrupa Bhavan Mamabi Durdaivam Medasham Mihani Nanuraha. So, Lord is so kind to all of us. He can be present before us personally in the form of a transcendental sound. That is proved. But unfortunately, we have no taste for hearing the glorifying of the Lord's name and his activities. Very less, very less what I can call it as our interest in that. Developing a taste for hearing and chanting the holy name is done through the medium of service to pure devotees. That's what we should understand. If you serve the pure devotees and all the senior devotees when you are serving, then you will get the interest by which you can chant the holy name of the Lord with so much of a loving pattern. The Lord is reciprocating, responding to his devotees. When he sees that the devotee is completely sincere and getting admittance to the transcendental service of the Lord, thus become eager to hear about him. The Lord acts from within the devotee in such a way that devotee may easily go back to him. He is giving the passage. The Lord is more anxious to take back to his kingdom than what we desire. Most of us does not desire at all to go back. If today Lord comes, okay, come on, today we'll go back to Goloka. Anybody will go? Very rare, very rare. Nobody want to leave the family, friends, wealth, all the position, house, car, everything is there. How they will go? Unless otherwise automatically something comes and goes. Only a very few men want to go back to Godhead. But to anyone who desire to go back to Godhead, Lord will help, and in all respect he will help. One cannot enter into the kingdom of God unless one is perfectly cleared of all the sins. That what you should understand. Like Prthu Maharaj, we should understand, clear of all the sins, perfect, all the qualities of Vishnu he was having. The material sins are product of our desire to lord it over the material nature. Why it is coming? All the sins are created only because our adamant action to be in with the material nature, to be controlling the material nature. I am this, I am that. So proud. We are nothing, but still we feel I am this. One fine day you will be thrown out. It is very difficult to get rid of such desires. Woman, especially woman and wealth, very difficult problem for the devotees making progress in the path of back to Godhead. Woman and wealth. Many stalwarts we had seen from Vishwamitra to say anybody in the devotional line fell victim for this allurement and thus retreated from the path of liberation. They want to go in some path, but due to Manaka, he was totally come down. But when one is helped by the Lord himself, the whole process becomes easy. And anything by the divine grace of Lord. Example is Haridas Thakur, Bilvamangal Thakur. So many great personalities. They are not bothered about it. They somehow are cut off all those knots and reach the supreme. It is to become restless in the contact of a woman and wealth is not an astonishment that we should understand. But because it is not why I will let say even Mahaprabhu says na dhanam na janam na sundarim kavitam va jagati sakamaye mama janmani sware bhavata bhaktir ahaitu hi tvai. O Almighty Lord, I have no desire to accumulate wealth or no desire to beautiful woman, nor do I want any number of followers. I only want your causeless devotion service, birth after death. So these all what it is considered as a hindrance. Na dhanam, na janam, na sundarim, kavitam va jagati sakamaye. Mama janmani sware bhavatar bhakti. Mahaprabhu says, life after life. I only want to cautional devotional service, birth after birth. Oh Almighty Lord. I don't want to desire to accumulate wealth. I don't want beautiful woman. I don't want any number of followers. Because every living being is associated with such thing from time immemorial. We call it as remote time. Since remote time, everyone is practically involved in all these things. It takes time to recover from that foreign nature. Okay, because we got into this habit, to come out of it, it will take time. But if one engages in hearing the glories of the Lord, then gradually he realizes his real position. That what it's stated in the first verse of Sishtastakam. Seto darpanam janam tavamaha davagni nirvavanam sheya kairava chandrika vidaranam vidya vadu jivanam manandam budivardhanam pradivadam purnamadastavanam sarvatma sravanam param vijete Sri Krishna Sangeetanam. So the Krishna Sangeetanam is the only thing which can cleanse us the thing which are accumulated day in out, day out. It is from time immemorial. It was set in our heart by chanting the holy name of the Lord. Gradually, that thing is like a mirror. How it is removed out of the dust, it can give you the swarupa. So, like our swarupa can be given by chanting the holy name of the Lord regularly with full of this thing. And we also know the name and the form is not different. Lord is available in the form. We feel that and chant, then it will be whenever we chant Hare Krishna means we should know that Krishna is present there. When we say Hare Rama means Rama is present there. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare means Lord's energy is present there, and he be requesting the Lord's energy. Please connect me to the Lord. That way we will have to chant in a wonderful way. We can get into our proper position. So this is the ultimate what it's given. Prthu Maharaj, by remembering Prthu Maharaj, one can elevate himself to the higher planetary systems as he desires. In the same way, when we remember the Lord, Janma Karma Chime Divyam, all this is Sunvatam Sugatam Krishna, Punya Shavana Kirtana. So all the knots from the heart will be removed, and it will be clean, and we will be get a position, and we will have to go back to Godhead. That's a very, very properly it is done. In the last another 5-10 minutes, I want to today is the appearance day of Advaita Acharya. So Advaita Acharya, wonderful devotee. By a little about Advaita Acharya, I want to speak. Before that, Charana, this thing for Advaita Acharya. Jaya Jaya Sri Chaitanya, Jaya Nityananda, Jaya Dvaita Chandra, Jaya Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Jaya Jaya Sri Chaitanya, Jaya Nityananda, Jaya Dvaita Chandra, Jaya Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Jaya Jaya Sri Chaitanya, Jaya Nityananda, Jaya Dvaita Chandra, Jaya Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. So today in our group and in the Zoom, all who are present here, we should worship Sri Advaita Acharya. He taken birth today. Advaita Acharya is an incarnation of Mahavishnu. That's what we should understand. In terms of pastimes, he appeared before Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, and so was considered elder to Mahaprabhu. Maybe by the birth he was elder to Mahaprabhu. Mahaprabhu is the Supreme Lord. Nobody can be older than him. Adi Purusha. He was actually older than Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's own father. So we should understand. He's Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's father say he was a little older. Although he was Vishnu himself, Advaita Acharya was in the mode of a Vaishnava. Always he was in the mode of a Vaishnava. And as a Vaishnava, he felt compassion for all the fallen conditioned souls who are suffering without Krishna consciousness. During those days in Bengal, the people, a different type of culture they were following, not in a fixed culture. Navadvipa had previously been a great center for devotion, but it has deteriorated into a center of dry learning. Everybody started, the academics, they started going. So thus Advaita Acharya felt compassion for the fallen souls of the age. So engrossed in the material affairs of devoid of devotion service to Krishna. So these people, all the fallen souls, they mostly involved in, as in today's condition, how the people are very busy, in material activities. In the same way, during those days, in the material affairs, they involved and devoid of the devotion service to the Lord. It was not very prominently visible. But though he was Vishnu, Advaita Acharya himself, his mood was a humble Vaishnava. He felt that he was not capable of delivering the fallen souls. That's what he felt. He might have done it. As being a Vishnu, he might have done it. But he was waiting for someone else to do that. Because he felt, he was so humble, he felt that he is not capable of delivering the fallen souls. He believed that only Chaitanya Mahaprabhu himself could preach the Yuga Dharma of Harinama Sankirtan and deliver them. So, Advaita Acharya was an idle householder. We know that. Today only that Sandipur festival might have been getting completed for more than a week. It was conducted. He had read the scriptures. Advaita Acharya read the scriptures that the Lord sold himself to any devotee who offered him tulsi leaf and palm of palmful of water. That's what he read. So you want to follow that. As a Grahastha Brahmana, he worshipped a Saligramasila with a Ganges water and Tulsi leaves, with the aim of bringing about Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu to descend to this world. So, in Chaitanya Charitamrita, described Advaita Acharya appealed to Lord Krishna appear again on this earth. He cried with such an intensity that the sound traveled throughout the entire universe and ultimately reached Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu in his abode. And because of such a loud cry of Sri Advaita Acharya, Mahaprabhu did indeed descend, appearing in Navadipa in the full moon night of Palguna, February, March, May, it is coming. The Lord, Gaurapurama is going to come. The Lord come at the request of Advaita Acharya, a pure devotee. For what? To claim the fallen souls. So, this is a small narration about Advaita Acharya. We will be hearing from Maharajas much more greater version of each and every pastimes of Advaita Acharya. Anyway, Jaya Jaya Sri Chaitanya, Jaya Nityananda, Jaya Advaita Chandra Jaya Gaura Bhaktavinda. Advaita is given a very prominent by Kaviraj. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, Nityananda Prabhu, immediately after him, Advaita Prabhu was given a wonderful position in Chaitanya Charitamrita and Chaitanya Bhagavat. So we should, on this very, very auspicious day, we should worship Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, Advaita Acharya, and through him we can get the blessings of the Supreme Lord, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and the Supreme Lord. So in the today's this thing, we talked about Prthu Maharaj. Prthu Maharaj, how he gained back to his abode, and along with his wife, right, a chaste wife. And further, the Prabhupada explained about the qualities of Brahmanas. And before that, he was explaining about Kama, and Moksha Kama, and how these people will have to act on those things, and what is the important thing, how we'll have to get into that mode of Akama devotee, and Arjuna, how he become from a Kama to Akama devotee by in the battlefield of Kurukshetra, that we saw that. And further, we saw the qualities of a Brahmana, how the Brahmana will have to live, what is the qualities he will have to inculcate in him, and as per Bhagavad Gita, and what is the Kshatriya mood, and what they will have to do, what Vaishyas and Sudras, what is their situation, all that we read. And one should not imagine himself to be other, so that he should do his prescribed duty properly. That is enough. That Lord will take care of him. If you try to do others' work perfectly, and that is not correct. We should, a Brahmana should be a Brahmana, and Shudra should be a Shudra. Then only this thing, Chaturvarnam Maya Shreshtam Guna Karma Vipavashaka. Guna and Karma. Guna is the character, and Karma is the activity. Based on that, this Chaturvarnam has been made by the Supreme Lord. We should be live in that limits, so that we can, every others will be happy. All of us will be. We will have to keep in our paradigm. We should not enter into the others, and at the same time, we should not make others to enter into ours. In that way, if we live a wonderful life, then it's a wonderful situation, what it stated. So all the potency, it is invested in the holy name. Even Mahaprabhu, Nam Namahari Bauda Nirja Sarva Sakti. So he was telling there is no kala for it, Smaranena kala, nakala. So Lord himself is descended as Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, try to give us the proper etiquette, how we can get rid of all this material entanglement. And he said, what is the in mood which we will have to chant, humbler than a blade of grass, tolerant than a tree, Trinada Pisuni Chena, Tarorahish Sagishnuna Amani Namanadena, Kirtani Sadahari. So our duty in ISKCON only to chant, and eat prasadam, and preach all this message to the entire world. all the fallen souls, we will have to take it to our fold and try to give a guidance to them. This is our total this thing. So we should hear all this. And finally, we touched on Advaita Acharya, how he descends for the sake of all the fallen souls. He requested by praying with his saligram, with the Tulasi and Ganges water, pouring the Ganges water along with Tulasi to his saligram deities. He called the Supreme Lord so loudly from his abode. Lord descended in the month of Falguna. So with this, we'll have to chant Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. With this, I will end my small narrations. If anybody want to comment on this or got any feedback on this, or if they want to add some more points to this, I'm welcoming so that I can understand it. I will be very careful on my next classes if it is. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, thanks a lot for the wonderful class, and he also covered about Advaita Acharya, and at the end he nicely summarized everything. Yeah. And today being the Advaita Acharya, fasting is still the known.
Can I make a comment?
Yes, Prabhu.
This is to the organizers. Hello? Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji.
Can you hear me?
Yes, Prabhuji.
Just this is for your organizing. Today being Advaita Acharya Appearance Day, such occasions you should exclusively give the program for that Acharya itself discussion.
Yes,
it is not necessary to have the Bhagavatam, then go there. He's a Mahabhagavat. So such important appearance days, you dedicate that day program to them only. So Bhagavatam can go on the next, this is my suggestion.
Correct, Prabhu.
Okay, Prabhuji. Okay, Prabhuji. We'll take a note, Prabhuji. Thank you.
Hare Krishna, one more announcement. Since 14th is going to be the Nityan Trayodasi. So from tomorrow onwards, we have arranged Nityananda Prabhu's glories. So please attend without fail. And now devotees can unmute and ask any questions or comments. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, Dandavat Pranam Prabhuji. Thanks for the wonderful class as usual. Prabhuji, I have one doubt regarding Bhagavad Gita, Prabhuji.
Yes.
It's given that we should follow our prescribed duties according to the Varna. Is it according to our birth or according to our natural tendency which we get later on after birth, Prabhuji?
Nothing is by birth. Nothing is by birth. It is stated, Chadurvarnam Maya Shreshtam Guna Karma Vibhagashaka. What is your character? What you are doing? And what is the activity in which you involved? And what is the character you got? If you born as you might be born as a Sudra, you take it in that way. But you are having the qualities of a Brahmana, then you will be considered as a Brahmana. The qualities is more important than after taking a birth as a Brahmana. If a man is taking some other abominable acts, it is not correct. So it is based on that what Brahmamadya Sampradaya, it is highly warranted. Anyone who is inculcating these qualities, he will become that.
Okay, thank you, Prabhu. So according to our natural tendency, if we want to become a Shudra, we can become later on. Even if you are born in a Brahmin
Guna
family.
Karma Vivagashaka. That's what the Lord says.
Okay, thank you very much. Wonderful.
Hare Krishna Prabhu, Dandavat Pranam. Thank you for the
Dandavat Pranam, Mataji.
I think there are no more questions, Prabhuji.
I hope so. So let
I have one question, Prabhuji.
Yes.
what does it exactly mean? Like by hearing the glories of hearing the characteristics of Prthu Maharaj, one becomes Brahmana. These things. What does it mean? Because like at the end of everything, like we have Falasriti. So what does the hearing means? Is it mean that hearing and implementing in our life, or
is a pure devotee? He is a pure devotee. He is a Lord himself, descended as Prthu Maharaj, but he is a pure devotee. Whenever you hear the pastimes of a pure devotee, and it is like hearing the pastimes of the Supreme Lord. That's why I narrated that Shunvatav Sugatav Krishna. When you are hearing the pastimes and glories of the Supreme Lord, your heart will be cleared of all the contaminated material things. In the same way, when we are hearing Prthu Maharaj as a pure devotee, our heart will be purified. It will become, what is the meaning of purification? It is going upward, like from Brahmana to a Vaishnava, and all that qualities will be inculcated in them. By hearing some great personalities, some of the characters, we will be like, we will instinct, we will feel the spirit of to become like them. That was the thing.
yes, Prabhuji. Thank you, Prabhuji. I think now we can end the class with Vaishnava Pranama, Prabhuji.
Vanchakalpatarubhasya kripa sindhubhyev cha patitanam pavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo namah.
Ananta Koti Vaishnava Vrinda ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Srila Guru